better not have no plans tonight.
Movie time and it's feeling right.
You're looking for a love that lasts. You'll find it at Romancing the Podcast. Ooh, ooh, baby, you had me at hello. Ooh, I love you.
I know.
Ooh, ooh, baby, you're the wind beneath my wings. Ooh, I'll have what she's having.
I'm recording right now. Let's go.
Recording.
What she said. No, what is this movie?
Think like a man, bitch.
Think like a man.
What she said.
Thank you for tuning into Romancing the Pod. You had us at hello. I'm Paige Wesley.
I'm Mikey Randolph.
And I'm Todd Schlosser, and this week, Paige made us watch Think Like a Man.
It was not me. I don't take any credit for this.
I didn't pick this movie.
Oh, shit. I picked this movie.
You picked this movie.
You're welcome.
What she said.
Well, this is the classic Todd pick maneuver here.
Oh, come on. It wasn't like it was not awesome, right?
What?
Guys?
This movie was so bad.
I mean, here's the thing. I did not have high expectations because I really, really, really disliked the book.
What? And I feel like I also really, really, really dislike the book.
Let me piggyback on what Paige said. I had very low expectations. And this came in far below those.
Yeah.
I didn't know this was about a book.
Yeah.
Todd, have you even heard of this movie before, or did we just kind of blindly pick again?
No, I mean, it was a super popular movie that did really well in the box office, which makes me sad inside.
And two of the people that were, actually a bunch of people that were in this movie were also in
I
About
know.
Last Night, and I loved About Last Night.
Which is a better movie, a way better movie.
It's way better, but I think it's because it's about two couples and not 85 people. You know, this
Yes, it has
suffers, I think.
the Love Actually problem.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. This is a classic Love Actually, right?
It's worse than Love Actually.
I mean, I think it's because I also really dislike Love Actually.
Same, yeah.
People know. Go back and listen to that episode, whatever. I don't dislike this more or less. I think I dislike it in a different way.
Yeah, I agree. I was like, oh, so this book says that all men are bad, I think.
Well, it's complicated.
The book seems wild.
The book actually exists, man. It's like, that's not like a bit for the movie. The book preceded the movie, or predated the movie.
The movie talked about it and monologued about it, or voiceovered about it. It was basically like an infomercial, you know?
Yes.
Yes, it was basically like
Not
an
incorrect.
infomercial. Yeah.
And even when it came out, I was like, I don't know why anyone is listening to relationship advice from Steve Harvey anyway. The dude's been married like 4 times and divorced almost as many times.
So he's good at it, Paige. That's what that
He's
means,
good at
right, guys?
There's nothing wrong with getting divorced. Some people shouldn't be together. I get it. But if you've done it like 4 times, I'm going to question maybe what you're bringing to the table a little bit, unless you're like super old and you've just had a lot of time, you know, or whatever.
I'd like to speak on the actual advice, some of it, because...
Okay. I'm so thrilled that Mikey's going to give, like, relationship advice
from
on this.
a mental health perspective.
Oh, actually, you are qualified for that, I will
because
say.
I was thinking about this the whole time where I was like, I disagree with a lot of this on a feminist level, but I think Mikey's going to have communication notes.
It seems like the book just says to lie to each other a lot.
Yes.
And I feel like that's not healthy. And you can just be honest about your expectations in a partner. And you really could just sum it up in like a couple of paragraphs, probably, other than typecasting the boys or whatever.
But you can't sell someone a whole damn book that just says go to therapy.
I have a whole chip on my shoulder about pop psychology and self-help books. Anyway.
Is it because most of them are pretty much just cults?
Yeah.
Oh, is that like too honest?
That's my frustration with it.
Same.
I'm like, oh, you have seminars? What a shocker.
Yeah.
It really is really reductive in the way it views men and women and tradition and like gender roles, and like people are not that simple, first
Yes.
off. And that's, I mean, our characters in the movie, they are, but
Oh, God, yes.
real people are not like that.
Right.
And I think if you wrote the movie with half of the characters and like just literally push characters together instead of them being exactly one thing, make them 2 things maybe. And then you have less stories to tell and it makes more sense.
like specifically the one couple who were like, are we gonna get engaged? And I'm like, y'all need to have a fucking conversation before you spend $10,000 redecorating the house.
They've been together for 9 years. That's the one that makes the least sense to me.
Same. When they were like getting engaged at the end, I was like, oh, this is gonna end so badly soon.
So
But when Natalie and I
bad.
watched this together, and she was like, wait, are they gonna get engaged at the end of this? And I was like, no, I think by the end of the movie, she's gonna realize she doesn't want to be with him.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
And then at the end of the movie, I was like, I guess I was wrong.
I would argue that a number of these people should not be with their people, and they
No.
should go off to make other choices at the end of this movie. But I think one of the things that's so good about Last Night that is missing from this movie, and I know they're two completely different movies and it's two couples versus 14 or whatever, is the real conversations about why they're unhappy or the things that they want.
Yeah, like honest communication.
Yeah, they ask the questions that should
Yeah.
precipitate those conversations, and then nobody has those conversations. And I was like, wow, we didn't even try to write them.
It's really the same in each side story because, like, the guy who's close with his mom, you could just be like, hey, your relationship with your mother seems like you're putting more attention to them with that, and that makes me feel this way.
Hey, your relationship with your mother looks like you should both go to fucking therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not how that should go, but
Almost all the couples were like that. Like, it was just,
Yeah.
I'm like, so you have a whole chapter where you're like manipulating each other, but not having the
Yes.
honest conversation about
Yes.
like what is wrong with your relationship.
and to the point where it seems like they don't even actually like each other. They are just playing a weird game. And it was so refreshing at the very end when the guy's like, I'm going to go home and cook for my wife. And they're like, whooped. And he's like, no. I like her. She's my wife.
Yes,
Yeah.
the dopey white guy that I don't remember anybody's fucking name, but the dopey white
There's
guy.
too many people to remember.
One, I related to him very heavily as like a sensitive, emotional male in an all-male group of friends.
Sure.
Two, he's probably the most well-adjusted character where he did not let their unhealthiness rub
I
off
felt
on
like
him.
he was older than them too, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't understand how he's their friend.
Okay, so I actually had a thought for that.
Did you?
They all went to college together, and their freshman
Yes.
year, he was like their
They're RA or something.
Yes, yeah, something like that. But yeah, Mikey,
That
I
makes
mean,
sense.
he is just like, I want to be at home with my wife. She's awesome.
I like
and
her.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
she's a fun person. I do also like that he shows up for his friends. Like he comes to Thursday basketball and goes out for a drink afterwards. Like
No,
he's
yeah.
a good guy. Yeah.
Well, and I think it's funny, and I think it's it really speaks to the movie's perspective that they play him for the joke so often.
Yeah.
Of just like, look at this fucking idiot, except for that one point where I think they accidentally make him likable. And I think they only really do it so that we can find out that Kevin Hart has been married to Wendy Williams this whole time. But
Gotta
like,
love Gail, baby.
to me, I was like, they don't understand that he is in a legitimately healthy relationship. And they're over here like, now, if I do this, or whatever, which is my problem. It's one of many problems with the book. Yes, I feel like the book is fairly manipulative when you could just talk to people. Number one. Number two, I really hate, and I hated it at the time, I hate it now, that the book seems to say to women, men are imperfect and bad, and it's your job to fix it.
Or it's your job to put up with it. You decide.
Put up with it.
Yeah.
You decide.
It's real
It's your
gross.
job, to change the way you live and the things that you want and the things that you do because he's not going to put up with it. As opposed to fostering some sort of conversation and equality within two people who have equal footing and equal weight in a relationship, it says it's your job to manipulate this person into doing what you want, and it's your fault for him being shitty. And also, all men are shitty. And I'm like, first of all, not all men are shitty.
Hashtag not all men, guys.
No, I did not say that. It is a lot of them. You can't just categorize people wholesale. And are there some things that I'm like, okay, I think this one tiny piece of advice is not bad, but it's in a whole blanket of terrible? Yes, like in the situation where she makes a ton of money and is kind of a self-made lady and wants someone the same, I do think it's not a bad idea to say, reevaluate the priorities of what about that is important to you. I understand that.
I actually sort of like her story.
I kind of do. There's still some issues with it.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I like that she sort of learns that lesson on her own because it feels like almost every other couple in this movie, everything is like held by the hand and goes perfectly or immediately goes badly when it needs to.
Yeah.
This is the only one where like I didn't necessarily see the CEO guy popping up and them dating for a while.
I mean, honestly, it's Morris Chestnut, girl. You should have maybe stayed on that date with Morris Chestnut.
Yeah,
He never
I got
asked
it.
how she was.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, that's not, from a screenwriting perspective, that's not equal. Like, because that wasn't the problem with other people. Like, it is a problem with him and a reason why she shouldn't date him. But that doesn't immediately erase some of the things that are going to be a problem with Michael Ealy's character, who I hope his food truck succeeds. But honestly, statistically, 90% of the time, it's not gonna. The other one that I don't understand, it's Turtle from Entourage, right?
Yeah, it is Turtle from Entourage, yes.
First of all, why the hell would Turtle and Gabrielle Union ever even date? Like, come on.
Oh,
Secondly,
come on. A guy can do good sometimes.
Sometimes.
You can go above your station.
First-
You
first
married
of all-
above. You married.
Gabrielle Union, if you're out there, Mikey is a turtle-shaped man ready to love.
she's not single, dude. She is not single.
If you look like Gabrielle Union, look me up.
If anyone has ever said you look like Gabrielle Union, please reach out at mrandolph24.
Do you want babies as well?
Gabrielle Union is 50 years old and looks fucking amazing. She looks exactly the fucking same. And so does Megan Good, who's also in this movie, also gorgeous, still looks gorgeous. And so does Taraji P. Henson,
Yeah.
who is like 52 and looks amazing. Like, everyone in this movie has aged like they are some sort of secret elven race that doesn't age. It's a beautiful thing. Anyway,
It is.
Turtle and Gabrielle Union, I could not figure out what his job was, what he did during the day. Where was he other than basketball? So that the point that, like, when she's just like, hey, send a resume, like, that's such a low point of entry. He could have just not gotten the job. Like, that's how life works or whatever.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's like, no, why would I ever send a resume? I'm like, this is madness. Like, you need to demonstrate to me a reason why he wouldn't do this. Does he fucking love his job? Like, and doesn't want to leave? Like, what is it? I don't understand.
Paige, he just didn't send it. Like,
No, I
how
know.
easy is it just to send a resume?
Yeah.
Just to send it. I was so confused.
I was so sure that she was going to end up single at the end of this movie. And it was going to be like, okay, sometimes relationships aren't supposed to work out. You should dump your boyfriend like you dump your college couch.
Oh, that couch. We got to talk about the couch.
There is no point in this film where it treats the people as real people with real relationships. I knew they were all going to end up together at the end.
Oh, of course.
Because that's how, I mean,
Mikey, he sent one resume and got hired into a senior management level position. That is insane. He only had one interview and they called him like right after. No.
I just sent my resume and that's how I run all these programs.
Good Lord.
I put my Transformers away and now I save lives.
Also, those were fucking vintage Transformers and like a vintage Atari poster. Some of that looked real fucking cool.
I mean, okay, I'll be honest.
I can't believe he's finally going to be honest with us, Paige. It's been like
Oh my God.
between both pods, like 500 episodes or like 400 episodes.
Yeah, that's me, known as the person who does not tell truths
Yeah.
about myself.
You don't really want to know what was on his floor. You know what I'm saying?
It was shit. I mean, like when I moved to this house, I wanted a more adult feel.
I think Mikey's about to tell me that I have to get rid of my nerd art, and I refuse. My house looks fucking cool, or it will.
But also, like, is Jake down? Like, does Jake like it?
yeah,
Do you guys communicate about it?
yeah, Jake brought two different swords into this relationship.
Mhm.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Here's what I will say. First of all, nerd dudes, you could find nerd ladies. That's the thing that happens.
Yeah.
But also, even if you're trying to project less nerdery, you can make strategic choices about the things you display, is what I would
Yes.
say.
Some of my best friends, they're a married couple, and I think they do this very well. They have one room in their house that's like super nerdy, and the rest of it's like real nice.
That's what I've done with like this guest room / office. I have all my nerdy stuff over here and on
Yeah.
the desk and stuff. But I mean, like before my old place, I was just like, it's time to put away the college dorm room
Yeah.
feel and like have a more adult place. And when she redecorates that house, like, it looks really nice.
It does.
She spent a pretty fucking penny on that house.
Well, I mean, if they're stealing thrown away furniture, I guess they've been able to save some money up.
I would guess, because she went and outfitted her whole place in HD Buttercup, and that's a small fucking fortune. That's
Well, yeah,
insane.
she had her own personal designer. Oh, who came to her house. Oh,
Okay, I was gonna bring it up when it happened, but I'll burn this fun fact right now. They carry out a leather chair, and he's like, "No, not my chair. That chair costs $6,500. Like, that's an Eames lounger."
Yeah,
It's a
I pointed
fucking
at the
Eames
chair and I
lounger.
was like, I've seen that same exact chair at like Restoration Hardware for like $4K. I swear to God. Like,
Yeah, I've seen that chair on Mad Men.
that's an expensive fucking chair.
It's a very expensive chair.
And they're gonna throw it out? Okay, well, I'll take it.
But also, she's like modern with a touch of vintage. Keep the Eames lounger. What are we doing? Like, that's what? it keeps your design aesthetic.
Yeah.
but I mean, I wanted a more grown-up look, and it has worked well with people that I've dated at the
You've been seducing.
that has happened, yeah, a couple of times, yeah. But that's better than before when I was like in relationships. They were like, I get anxious when we go to your house.
I mean, I know where you used to live. Like, I understand that feedback.
Exactly.
Wait, why anxious?
I tend to date people with.
Oh, I thought you meant because of the action figures. And I was like, is this like, I don't have this many action figures, so I feel like less than, or?
No, I just wanted it to be nicer. But anyway, this movie was fucking boring and hard to pay attention to, and everyone had names that I didn't remember, and I don't like basketball.
No one ever seems to play basketball in this movie.
No, they play it in the credits for sure. They get their asses handed to them.
Well, I think they're playing famous people in the credits.
They definitely are. Yeah.
Yeah, if Meta World Peace steps up, he's gonna fucking stomp you at basketball.
Yeah.
Basically, my criticism overall is that I feel like the movie and his book, I guess, because I'm not reading that and I'm never going to, but it was pretty much read to me during this film.
Yeah. I feel like we all read the book when we watched the movie.
Yeah.
It just seems to reinforce all the ideals of toxic masculinity of
Yeah.
like to women about men and to men about themselves and to men about women.
And cis heteronormativity? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Because I was like, I'm not like this.
No, right.
Yeah.
Exactly, Mikey. Like, I could sort of see you in the like mama's boy lane, but only because of the one interaction like the Barnes and Noble where you run into a beautiful woman and you ask her out for like a coffee date, and then she's like, well, I have to go pick up my son. And then instead of being like, oh, okay, well, maybe next time or whatever, you immediately upgrade that mother to a dinner date. Like, I was like, that's a Mikey move right there.
Well, yeah, because single moms, they've at least had sex once.
Yeah, this whole book is almost like telling women why, like, if you know that thing where you like hold somebody's hand and hit them with it? It's like that, where it's like, why are you hitting yourself? Why are you letting men treat you badly? Instead of being like, hey, men, why don't you stop being assholes?
Yeah.
And Chris Brown is in this movie.
Yeah. Like, way more than he should.
He's in this movie like 4 different times.
Yeah. I think there's a lot you have to overlook in this movie to even find sections of it enjoyable. Like, I do think Kevin Hart's funny. He's funny in this movie.
I did laugh out loud when we found out Wendy Williams was his wife.
Yeah, like there's some funny elements.
In what is probably an abusive relationship.
Oh,
Yeah.
I certainly got a vibe. Yeah. When it's revealed that Gail is who Gail is, I 100% rethought the scene where they're like going out to celebrate his divorce and they go to like that
Mhm.
the mama's boy's mom's house and he's like, hey, how old's your mama? Because like I
Yeah.
thought he was trying to incentivize them to leave and go to the strip club. But after it's revealed who Gail is, I was like, I think maybe he was like checking out the mom, like really.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we should just go through it scene by scene.
Mm-hmm. So we open on a cartoon about the beginning of mankind and the rituals of manhood. Somebody kills a mammoth, somebody gets circumcised in public, and then somebody gets married. And I was like, these are all really weird things to equate to each other.
It's done in the same animation style as the Boondocks.
It is.
And I sort of dig that animation style.
I do like that animation
Yeah,
stuff.
it's cool.
But it basically implies that men only got married to have sex, not to have
Right.
any sort of companionship or a partner or someone that they care about.
Only because they wanted to do the nasty page.
Yes, because no one ever had sex out of wedlock before
Before.
the 80s.
Yeah, I agree. And the idea that men only want to have sex with women and that's their only purpose is pretty prevalent in this movie and wild reductive.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of this movie is like maybe even showing that that's not like the right way to look at your spouse.
Well, men only marry for sex.
Wait, are women people?
Oh,
No,
Paige.
they're women, Paige. We've been over this.
You know, they're like man, but like if you start to move out ahead, we'll be like, whoa, man.
This is kind of like that episode of X-Files where they're hunting Bigfoot and then they realize that it's a lady Bigfoot and he just like takes the Bigfoot diagram that they had and just draws tits on it. Have you guys not seen that
The
episode of
X-Files
X-Files?
hold the fuck up. I used to watch that every Sunday with my mom, and it was a good time.
Wow, just like a character in this movie who also had a standing Sunday date with his mom.
I was 12, so I mean, I lived there.
Sorry, I didn't realize you were 12. I'm so sorry.
What year do you think the X-Files came out? Todd?
I honestly have no idea. I didn't watch it.
2002 is when it was like in its peak.
That's like reruns.
Yeah,
reruns.
it was like
Oh,
the 90s
shit,
is when
it was
it came
in the
out.
90s?
Yes.
Damn, okay.
Yes. Yeah, David Duchovny in the 90s drawing tits on a Bigfoot.
Yeah, the first thing I saw David Duchovny in, and this is going to sound insane, was the movie Evolution.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That's the first time you've seen David Duchovny.
That was the first time, and I realized that that was weird when I said, hey, that David Duchovny dude was good, man. And my friend Randall was like, yeah, you mean that guy who's been acting forever?
He's been super famous for like 2 decades.
I felt like a very big dummy.
Anyway, we go through all the different kinds of men that this book highlights. There are only these, no others.
Does it highlight the women characters the way it highlights the men? It does, because it says like,
It does, and
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
not very nice.
no, it's like the mama's boy and the whatever the woman's title is. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, versus
Yeah.
whatever.
Which I feel like those are chapters in the book. Like that's the vibe it gave
They
off.
are.
I have no idea though.
Yeah, they are. So it starts with the player where he's like, "Hey, you sexted," and she's like, "Those are not my boobs."
Well, yeah, he's like
Which is
showing
like-
them to her,
Yeah, you recognize boob? Me want boob. Show boob from picture.
and she's like, "I have no boob from picture. Those other boob."
I have no boob. Then we cut to the mama's boy, who basically is on a date with his mom.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. Love Jennifer Lewis.
How could
Like,
you not?
she is the best. But this relationship between this mother and son is troubling.
Yeah. And it sort of played like the mom was like being terrible to whoever he brings home, trying to force a situation where her son would choose the woman over the mom, and then she would like that
Yeah,
lady.
it acts like she was like playing 4D chess with
Yeah,
it.
it's insane. I hated it. I hated it so much, Paige.
And here's the thing, it's like I have encountered in my life people who are mean to their children's significant others for no reason other than they can't let go. And it's real fucked up. And therapy should be a thing. But to act like it was some 4D chess if it turned out to be that, I would be so angry.
Same.
I'd be like, how dare you just try to manipulate me instead of having conversations about the person I like and getting to actually know them? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Tandis.
Tandis. Then we have the non-committer where he gets her what looks to be a ring, but it's earrings, and she kind of feels like she's one of the guys, air quotes.
I feel like I'd probably fit more in the non-committer, but this guy's been with her for 9 years, which sounds
9
like a very
years.
heavy commitment.
Yes, it is.
That's a
very
long
heavy
time.
commitment.
They're common law married in many states. Yeah. Anyway, then we have the happily married man and the happier divorced guy. And it's Kevin Hart just being like, I'm glad I'm divorced. She can't nag me yet. She used to hit me. And you're just like, whoa, what? Sir, do you need a hug? Like, it's real rough. Like,
Yeah.
he's clearly going through some unresolved trauma. And I'm upset that they end up back together. Even though it was very funny to find out it was Wendy Williams. Not optimistic about the relationship dynamic.
I thought it was wild that at the very end of this movie, they make Kevin Hart go back to his abusive wife.
That is crazy.
And they're like, hey, congrats. You know, that's great for
Yeah.
you.
Hooray. In this scene, they make fun of him for coming to like play basketball with a black eye.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so she like hit, and he's like, no, I fell down the stairs. And I'm like, this isn't funny.
No.
No, like this is not good. Like you guys should be like, hey, do you need help? Like, are you afraid for your safety? Like,
I realize this is like people who are still around today. Like, this is Kevin Hart. It's like a lot of famous people. This was like 11 years ago, you know?
yeah, it's not that long ago.
Yeah. Like, it's wild to me that, like, how much that's changed in 11 years. Because, like,
Yes.
right now, if Mikey was like, or if I came to Mikey and was like, had a black eye, and I was like, yeah, Natalie hits me, Mikey would be like, we need to talk about your safety.
Yes.
I would say you need to leave, and if you didn't leave her, I would give you another black eye.
No.
Tough love.
No, we would have to have a very serious conversation. And actually, in this state,
I'm sure.
visible injuries lead to automatic arrest. So I might make that happen.
But this movie kind of treats it like, well, he's a man. He shouldn't let that happen. I'm like, what? No, that's not. No,
Oh.
what?
'Cause
No.
This is gender stereotypes the movie. This is the most gender stereotyped the movie has been since the 90s or 80s.
And it's
It's
straight out of
wild.
last decade, like 11 years ago.
Anyway, but this is where the movie, which inexplicably is narrated by Kevin Hart.
I mean, he's like the only one in the movie that does not have a partner, you realize until legit 5 minutes before the end of this movie. He is like their explained away single friend. He's the one they're like helping through a divorce, right?
Right. But so he's narrating and he's like, this was the day that the tables turned for women, essentially. And it's basically Steve Harvey presenting on TV about his book and all the different women see it.
Yeah.
Now, it also is like, this book is sold out everywhere. I was like, is this some sort of wet dream?
Yeah,
Like,
I was like,
is-
no
was this
book
like
has
Steve
sold
Harvey
out
writing
everywhere.
fan fiction about his own book? Like,
Yes,
what
it is
this?
exactly that page. It is 100% that. Yes.
They talk about it like 3 times and they're like, it's on back order. Because when the guys try to buy it, they can't find it.
Yeah.
They have to steal it from one of their moms.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We also get a cutaway to all the boys end up at Rush Street, which is a real restaurant where I had my college graduation like party.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, you mean around the same time they were shooting this movie? That's right. Paige is in the background of this movie. You can
that's
see her
right.
at exactly 12 minutes and 48 seconds. And I'm making all this up. Don't go. Don't look for
It
it.
was the same year. It was the same year.
I'm sure. Yeah,
Anyway, they go to that restaurant like 6 or 7 times in this movie.
they do.
And almost every other location in this film outside of houses is either across the street from that restaurant or next to that restaurant.
That doesn't surprise me at all. I feel like this movie was shot in like 3 weeks.
This entire movie was shot within 2 square blocks.
Yeah.
I shit you not. You could walk it easy.
It feels like they shot it 4 times very quickly.
Yeah. Anyway, so Kevin Hart tries to hit on Kelly Rowland at the bar. And I'm like, I know she's not Beyonce, but give her more respect than this. And he strikes out. And then he walks away. And then the player walks up and is like, oh, and basically just negs her. It's like, you don't look as nice as you normally do. What's wrong?
Yeah.
I'm worried about you.
Yeah.
Like literally negs her into giving him her number.
I mean, sort of backs her into a corner of tell me a sad thing that's going on in your life in the recent fiscal quarter. And she's like, well, I got laid off 2 months ago. And he's like, all right, I'm looking out for you. Hope you have better times or whatever. And then like leaves and she calls it back over. And that's like his
Right.
move, right?
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, Kelly, she didn't lay you off. It's just that your solo career didn't go as well as you thought. And you made that music video 2 years before this where you were text messaging in Excel. And it's one of the funniest things that's ever happened. And you should be proud of that.
That's why he never texted back.
How could he? Well, that's on her because like Excel, she assumed it was a date. Spreadsheet jokes.
I'm trying not to say anything that comes after a punchline of assumed it was a date.
That's right.
Todd,
You shouldn't
do you
that.
think every series of numbers on an Excel spreadsheet is a
He's
date?
full of guys. It was like he has to put all the guys in the spreadsheet because they go in a group, you know.
It's like a Rolodex, but for my dudes. It's my Rolodudes.
It's like a list of 5 dudes, and then you just hit sum at the end, and it's like date question mark.
That just sounds like Grinder.
Oh, guys, did we just invent Grindr? Shit. Okay. We're like 5 to 12 years late. I have no idea when that app came out.
But we just invented 2009 Grinder of a sidekick with a spreadsheet on it, and Kelly Rowland typing in
Says
names.
date question mark.
This will shock no one, Paige. I have no idea who she is musically.
Todd. She is the second most talented member of Destiny's Child.
She was in a Destiny Child?
I can't deal with this man.
I know who Destiny's Child is. Yeah, all the single ladies. I get it.
That's Beyonce by herself. Can you name one Destiny's Child
Say
song?
my name, baby. Let's go.
There we go.
There
All
we
right,
go,
all right,
there
all
we
right.
go.
But that was actually pre-Michelle. That's her and Kelly with the other two.
Yeah.
Destiny's Child, I like kicking myself for not seeing them back in the day when it was way easier to do so. They would tour with a live fucking band.
Yeah.
Full horn section,
I met the guy who played drums for Destiny's Child, and he was at the time, the most expensive drummer to take on the road.
that doesn't surprise me at all.
Me either. He was doing a drum clinic that I got invited to, and he was amazing. I had never heard his name,
I'm
and I was like,
sure.
oh, he plays for Destiny's Child? I was like, okay, cool, I'll check it out. And I was like, holy God, this guy can jam. Like, he's so good.
Yeah. Anyway, he comes back to the table. He's got her number. And then we reveal that Turtle's credit is $430. That's tough to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I made like credit mistakes when I was in college. Like,
Same.
I really fucked up young Todd's credit.
Yeah.
But that takes 430 takes a little bit more than just fucking up when you're a kid.
I mean, that's like a write-off or two.
That's like, I lost 200 grand in the stock market and I borrowed that money from a bank and I can't pay it back.
Here's the crazy thing, and maybe it's because he's slightly older than me. By the time I was old enough to have credit cards, the limits they would extend to you with very little to no credit because you are young are pretty
Oh.
low. They're low.
Yeah.
So like you can only get into so much trouble, really. Unless you get, I guess if you get like evicted a bunch of times maybe or something, but
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that could impact your credit too. Yeah.
here's the thing, they've been living
Leaves.
together and have been in that house together for like
9 years.
almost 9 years.
Well, I'm sure they haven't been in that place for 9 years, but they
Sure,
probably
sure.
moved in like 2 or 3 years ago.
Right. Well, and I guess thank goodness they're not married at that point.
Maybe that's why they weren't married.
Everyone goes on their own credit journey. I understand. I also believe that the
Ugh,
credit
yeah.
reporting system is a full scam and we're slaves to a total fucked up system that makes no
Yeah.
sense and actually rewards bad behavior and punishes fiscal responsibility. But whatever, 430, that's
Yeah.
still, I'm like, I almost want to high five you and just be like, I don't know how you did it, man, but like, gamed the system?
The lowest credit score possible is 300. So he's just like
Okay,
coasting right
okay.
above that. It goes up to 850. I had to look that up because
Yeah.
my credit is probably still not that great.
Anyway, so Kevin Hart is arguing with his wife on the phone. It's not pretty, but basically they decide that they're going to have a divorce celebration night minus their one goofy white friend who has to go to a recital.
Yeah.
His son's recital.
Which I'm like, shouldn't that be during the day? But whatever.
No, recitals are at night.
I guess.
It depends. But they do emasculate his son immensely for playing an instrument.
Yes, that's what I was
Yeah.
going to say. It's like insane, right?
He plays both the cello and the violin. That kid is going to be an orchestra conductor or something someday
Yeah,
and pay for all of their shit.
it doesn't hold up well. It honestly feels like this movie came out in 1998, not 2012.
Yeah. But then you've got the mama's boy character who's like, oh, let's go to my mom's house. She'll cook for us. And they're like, we're not having our divorce party there. Like, this is ridiculous. And then someone suggests that they go see the new Tyler Perry movie instead. And so Michael Ealy ruins the plot. And this is 2 or 3 times in this movie that someone's like, I want to go see a Tyler Perry movie where X happens.
Yeah.
And they either ruin the plot or give the craziest description of the plot. And it's the one running joke in this movie that I truly love.
Yeah, it was funny. Yeah.
It was pretty good. The second time they did the Tyler Perry bit, I literally paused it to see if this was actually titled Tyler Perry Presents Steve Harvey's Think Like a Man.
No. Tyler Perry presents : Steve Harvey's,
Steve Harvey,
Think Like a
comma,
Man,
Yeah.
Confessions of a Woman Dating Counselor. So we now cut through all the different archetypes of women that we're going to deal with in this movie. One, the one who's hooking up with no relationship, and he just says, men like women who have standards, so get some. And I was like,
Oof.
he's there for the hookup too. Okay.
Right?
Fuck you. Yeah. Oh, I was like, gross. Like, I can't even, it's difficult to quantify how gross that statement is.
And there's a lot of that in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the partner in the law firm, still single, makes 6 figures, adjust your standards. And Now, here's the thing. Do I think that maybe she is placing a little too much import on certain things as opposed to others? Sure,
Yeah,
but that's not a
sure.
conversation that happens in this movie at all. Like, I think that's a conversation that could happen in another movie that kind of more in What Men Want happens a little bit.
Yeah.
But in this, not so much, because Steve Harvey's basically just like, so does he have to do all these things? Settle. And it's almost this idea of like, what you want doesn't matter because he's not going to want that, which is stupid.
Yeah.
And then when is the right time to introduce a man to my kid? And he's like, as soon as possible. And I'm like, I understand people waiting. That's your
Me
kid.
too.
You're responsible for their safety. And he's like, well, you're wasting time if you like somebody and your kid doesn't like that. And I'm like, I understand what you're saying, yet also.
What if he doesn't like your kid? I'm like, are you not going to talk about you having a kid for the first 6 months?
Well, and I'm like, I understand that that's a deal breaker, and that's a deal breaker, but that's not necessarily a waste. It's you learning what you want. Like, I understand keeping your child's emotions and physical being safe by not introducing them to strangers all the time. Like,
Yeah.
that was wild to me.
Yeah, I think that is sort of a wild take on it, but I don't know. I don't have kids, and I have dated a woman with kids, and I was just like, I'll meet him whenever you want me to meet him.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, it's up to you. And
If you know they have kids, you have to come to the terms that you might spend time with their kids.
Well, and also, that's a difficult situation. That kid might not like you off the bat. Like,
Yeah.
They
you
probably
have
won't.
to also kind of like meet that kid in the middle and try to work with that kid. Like, what? It's bonkers.
Yeah. But I mean, like, do whatever you think is right, parents. I don't know.
Yeah, it's your child.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to Megan Good coming home with coffee that she has brought home for her hookup, which turns out to be Chris Brown. And this is also the second Tyler Perry movie joke where it's like, where two people meet at church and then argue and then they end up at church and in love at the end or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is very funny. But he immediately leaves her and leaves her with a note that says, "It was fun, Michelle." And she's like, "My name is Maya, asshole." Like,
I love how he calls her different names
Every
that
time.
are all M names. Like, he's
Correct.
like in the ballpark, but always wrong.
always wrong. And we then cut to a scene of people fighting over these books at a Barnes & Noble,
Yeah, like literally.
which, like, I know you can't see that. It's an audio medium.
No, they can't see you jerking off motioning and then splooging. No, they can't see that.
Anyway, that's what it felt like.
Does. I mean, it is very masturbatory for this book. Yes.
Yeah. And one of the first things in it, and this is kind of, it's one of many of the like quoting quotables from this book, boys shack, men build homes.
Yeah.
Which, like, I understand the thought process behind that of like people who don't intend to stay a long time will not establish permanent things, I think is a better way to phrase that. But the shack versus build homes puts like an economic slant on it that I think is missing the point a little bit.
Oh, you mean like when you boil down nuanced messages into sound bites, sometimes the overall message
Yeah.
is lost? Yeah, that happens
Yeah.
every day, all the time.
I think if you want to consider this one phrase, you should consider the phrase instead, people who want to stay will establish permanent things.
Yeah.
Well, people who do not will not. And that could be any number of things. There are a lot of things that are more permanent that are not tangible. Great. But this is what she's going to use to redecorate the house for some reason. She takes it extremely literally.
Yeah.
Anyway, we then cut to the mama's boy versus the single mom. And this is where we run into the single mom buying the book and in line meets the mama's boy, Michael Hanover.
Yeah.
And they agree to go out to dinner. They seem very cordial. You know, they seem nice. It's fine.
I thought it was cute, man. I thought
Yeah.
they had like good banter back and forth, and there was that guy in between him, and he was like rolling his eyes when they were talking. I thought it was a cute little scene.
Well, and I love that he let him cut in line. That was very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just like, all right, man, just get in front of me. It's fine. Like, but he does say, hey, can you go grab coffee? And she's like, I got to go pick up my son. And the movie does, I think, play this in a smart way because it's very clear that she expects him to maybe not say, oh, never mind then,
Yes.
or just not say anything, but don't then reschedule, right?
Right,
You know, just sort of like let
right.
it go. And there is that pause there, but he's just like, oh, you got a kid? Awesome. Can we do dinner?
Yes.
Right. I thought it was a pretty sweet meet cute.
It is very sweet. I also think that if you're in his shoes and someone's like, I have a kid, I have to go take this. Well, are you single though? Because like I'd still like to take you out to dinner. Like
I think he makes that clear. Yeah.
Yeah, I dated a single mom like 2 girls ago.
I feel like you've dated multiple single moms.
I totally have, yes.
Yeah, I was gonna
Mikey's
say.
got a lane, ladies.
It's the HOV lane because I'm looking for a family.
Did you hear about the pregnant lady who got pulled over in Texas for driving in the HOV lane, who got out of her ticket by saying that in Texas her fetus is classified as a person?
There's a lawsuit in Florida where
I saw that.
a
Yeah.
woman is suing,
Same
saying
situation.
that the fetus is being held against its will without being convicted of a crime in jail.
But you know what Florida's going to do? They're going to be like, well, that fetus was there when you committed the crime,
It's an
so technically
accessory.
it's an accessory. So we gotta bottle that baby up in jail until its birthday. I don't know.
I don't know
What
if
would
you know,
call
but the charge for being an accessory in this case is solitary
that?
for like 9 months.
That baby is gonna have the best rap album name if they want it, and that name is Born with a Rap Sheet.
Oh,
What?
Somebody has to have named a rap album that. Anyway. So they kind of connect. We cut to the non-committer versus the girl who wants the ring, who, by the way, have been together for 9 years.
Yeah,
9.
so like he's non-committal to this long-term relationship.
And we cut to her talking to her coworker. They are real estate agents. And
Yeah.
she basically is like, this book says that I have to require him to do it. And I haven't required him to do anything. And I was like, is this like The Ultimatum? Like the worst
Yes.
dating show on Netflix? And it fucking is.
I'll say this. The Lachey's are out here in these streets ruining people's lives, but I'm loving it.
Can we talk about Perfect Match for a second? Can we?
Yes!
Can we
Wait,
please?
you
I
guys-
finished it today. I
Guys,
finished
do
it
not
literally
spoil
today.
it for me.
Are you not caught up?
I'm not caught up. I'm on like episode 7.
Okay, you're almost caught up, but this won't spoil anything. It blows my mind that Nick Lachey treats every one of these reality shows that are admittedly the trashiest reality shows on
Yes.
They're like the only reality shows where they let strangers just have sex.
With cameras in
With
the
cameras
rooms
in the
page.
room.
If you're a video editor on one of these shows,
You
I
have
need
seen
to talk
so
to you.
much. I have so many questions. But he treats every single one like he's like, this is an important relationship weekend of counseling. And you're just like, bro, you're going to make them hump with sponges on, and then you're going to bring in a new person so that they sleep with a different person every night.
I do want to talk about this because I feel like they started Love is Blind as like, we want to make like a real show about love. And him and his wife came on.
Such
and
bullshit.
They talk about the experiment and all this stuff. And they have some sort of pretense of like, it's not for bad. Ultimatum, they tried to do that, but you could tell they knew it was all fucked up.
You could see the look on their face and they were like,
Yeah.
we've made a horrible mistake.
After that first dinner where they're like eating with them and everything goes
Just in
bonkers.
silence.
oh, the best. But then I think they stopped at that point because in Perfect Match, he never says this is an experiment.
Except that he does, Mikey. At one
Does
point,
he?
he comes out, he's like, this experience will shape the way you view relationships. And I was like, Nick Lachey, no.
Oh, I think that's true, but I think he knows it will shape the way they view relationships in a very negative way. His experiments have paid off. They are science. He knows. He's like, I'm going to fuck up how you do relationships right now. Welcome.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Nick Lachey is this generation's Milgram, is what Mikey is saying.
It's either that or like if there was a version of Cupid that was like the devil, like like a demon
Evil Cupid.
Yeah, evil Cupid.
Love is Blind is the one that I don't watch. I watched part of the first season and then was like, no, I can't do this.
Oh, it's
In part because my biggest problem with the show is that everyone is conventionally attractive. There's not a single uggo among them.
one couple in season 3, both of them were not conventionally attractive. Coincidentally, they got married and have been the most successful relationship of the show.
I'm sure they have, because they probably were more vulnerable.
They were the only ones that were there for the actual right reason.
Yes. And now here's the thing. I think if you truly did the experiment and it's a mixed bag of who's in it, like it could be any number of things. And maybe people are conventionally attractive, maybe they're not. I think that if the experiment is true, like, and if they did actually spend the time, that when you revealed that people maybe weren't what you initially thought they would be, I think some people would try to make it work and might end up happy and together. I think that's real. But I like every time I watch it, it's like, cool, a bunch of hot stupids versus a bunch of other hot stupids. Great.
But there's the thing. These people are all hot, but then they meet each other and they're like, I'm more of a leg guy and I just really don't see this working. And like that person, that girl's also a 10 and you're like, what? And then he's like, I just can't get over the fact that there's just no sexual chemistry there. While the girl's like covered in like melted butter or whatever. And you're like, I don't see what he's seeing. This experiment is weird.
And here, to prove my point, who has been the most successful couple on Perfect Match? The two that don't look like supermodels.
Right.
That just like paired up and we're like, we're in it to win it.
Oh, the ones that had like a 1-year relationship.
Well, apparently everyone slept with Francesca. Literally everyone. And I'm like, it's all Francesca's ex-boyfriends. Is that not awkward for everyone else?
So good.
Anyway, so she's kind of talking to her friend of like, I sell beautiful homes, but I feel like I live in a frat house, which by the way, their house is beautiful. There's just a bunch of stuff in it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
I definitely understand like what her real issue is.
Right.
And it's just manifested in the way the house is decorated. The house itself is gorgeous.
Which is still a
Yeah.
talk you can have of like, hey,
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I would like us to have a more adult looking home or a more like let's make this
Sure.
more of a home for both of us and like let's update. Why don't we have like a dorky room? Like there's like many like a man cave if it's his stuff. Because like the movie, of course, it's not both their stuff, it's just his toys everywhere or whatever. Because it's like very
Right.
reductive to any of these situations.
Plus that horrible couch. Here's how reductive it is. We don't know what he does. Like, it's literally not until she's like, hey, maybe you should apply for this job that we find out that he's like a game designer.
At Neversoft,
Yeah.
who hasn't made a good game since Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, that's fine.
Wow, calling out
Because
Neversoft.
Jake walked through and said the same thing. He was like, Neversoft. When was this movie made? And I was like, 2012. He's like, oh, that's why. And I was like, okay. And plus, for the neighborhood that they're in, it would be Riot instead. Riot Games is pretty close to where they live. But
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Either way, fuck you, Neversoft. Get a good game.
yeah, I don't even think they're a company anymore. Anyway, so she and her friend, she's like, so her friend is like, so you're gonna Nick Lachey ultimatum him and trick him into giving you a ring? And she's like, no, I'm gonna require him to give me a ring. Don't hate the player, change the game. And I'm like, no. Like these are conversations you should have. If you have spent 9 years with someone and haven't been like, hey, what are our future plans here? Like,
After 9 years, you've had that conversation a few times and the shit has changed. Especially if you started dating in college and now
Right.
you've been together 9 years post that. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, your goals are way different at the beginning of college than you are 4 or 5 years out of college.
Just the fact that they're not talking about like, hey, do you ever want to get married one day? Or I really want to get married one day. I'm going to need that. Or this relationship is going to get rocky for us.
I'm surprised that they hadn't had that conversation in 9 years.
Yeah.
because here's the thing, when I meet people who have been together for 9 years and are not married, I assume they don't want to be. And
Same.
that is a conversation that they have had, and they have decided that they have chosen a different path,
Yeah.
you know?
But at the end of this movie, when he is proposing to her, he could have been like, it has taken me 9 months or however long this movie is to decode the message you were trying to send, that you could have just said, I would like to get married, and I would have proposed to you immediately.
Well, I read a book where he's the villain in this, so I don't have to communicate that. I can just redecorate the house.
Oh my God.
If you've been together for 9 years and you want to keep being together with somebody, that seems like an easy decision.
Right?
I guess some people put it off because they're like, we want to have a big wedding or whatever. Fine, I guess. But like,
Yeah, it's your day. You have it however the fuck you want.
be
I don't care.
engaged for as long as you want. Like, I don't. It's just.
Or get married at the courthouse. Like, it doesn't matter to me.
I
It's
love
your wedding.
love a good courthouse wedding. I think those
Yeah.
are great. More people should do that, honestly. You can make them real fun. I was about to offer to officiate weddings, and I was like, don't lock yourself
No,
into that
don't do
page.
that.
Unless you charge a lot.
I mean, I think for me, it would depend on who it was. Like, there are certain listeners that I'd be like, yeah, sure. Like,
Now, if you pay for my flight, room, and board,
yeah.
and $20K, I don't care who you are. I don't care what you done. I don't care what I did. I'm gonna marry y'all.
You are-
Thank you for getting my tangentially related Nicola Shea reference.
That's not Nick Lachey. Holy
I know,
shit.
but it's a boy band, and he was in a boy band. That's why I said tangentially related.
He was in 98 Degrees, but that was
Yes.
Backstreet Boys.
but with global warming, they're 103 degrees.
Anyway, let's get back into this movie. So we cut to them playing horse basketball.
Yeah.
And he's trying to argue, like, no, we play video games. She loves everything I do. And I think accurately, one of his friends are like, no, she does that for you. But here's what I'm going to say. Speak up. It's been 9 years.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't like doing, you got to say something. Like, he's not psychic. Here's the thing. Do I think that their relationship is flawed in a lot of different ways and both people are at fault for stuff? Yes. But do I think this is one where I'm just like, dude, if you don't like doing those things, speak up. Just be like, can we do something else or something? Like,
Or just be like, hey, I want to play video games. And she might be like, hey, I want to go read.
great.
And you both do that separately.
Yeah.
That's also fine.
Jake and I have a system of if I want to go do something, I'll be like, I want to do this thing. Would you also like to do it? If you do, I'll get us both tickets. If you don't, that's okay. I'm going to go anyway. Put it on the calendar.
Yeah.
And it works out great for us, honestly.
Yeah, communication usually does in a relationship.
Yeah. That's how Andrea Gazzetta and I had a fun ass plus size art day on the Super Bowl day because we forgot it was happening. We forgot the Super Bowl was happening.
Oh, is that already happened?
It happened already. Yeah.
I know it happened. I also got Rihanna's birth announcement.
Yes. When people are like, she didn't do anything. I was like, she's fucking pregnant. And she's visibly pregnant. I'm going to be 8 weeks in, like, no, I got to sit here and eat these nachos for the baby. She's doing way more than I would.
And then as that person stops fully paying attention to Paige, she whispers to herself, I'm the baby. Is it weird that I think in sketches?
No.
I mean, I think in like 3-minute bits.
Yeah.
I think in 3-minute sexual encounters.
Oh, so you're doing it twice? Nice.
So he's like, no, she really likes it. And they're like, no.
Which also, like, girls like video games too. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, maybe she is doing it for him. It does definitely seem that Gabrielle Union isn't super into video games in this movie. So, like,
Or has moved on to other things.
Or maybe
Yeah.
she was
Sure.
for 7
Yeah.
years, but now she wants a grown up.
yeah,
Or at least some steps of grown up in this.
sure. But, like, I wouldn't say that playing video games does it to make you a grown up.
Yeah,
You know?
I-
Like, that's my point.
No.
Yeah,
But if you don't have a job and you just have toys all over the living room and you play video games all day and you've been together 9 years and you want a commitment, I can see where everything gets lumped together.
Oh, yeah, I know. But he has a job.
Does he? We
It
don't
doesn't
hear
say.
about it.
No, we do. Because, like, her problem is that he is better than his current job. Like, he got a job out of college and hasn't moved up.
Yeah, but we don't even know what the job is.
I assumed it was some level of game designery
I
thing.
guess.
I have
I
no
don't know.
idea. They'd never really talk about it in detail.
He made Floppy Bird.
Say he made Flappy Bird. Anyway, we don't know exactly what he does because it never actually tells us because we don't ever spend enough time with him to find out. We don't know what almost any of these men do for jobs, by the way.
Every one of them, unless it's a plot point, has lots of money, though.
Yeah, at any given time, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart goes through a strip club every day.
Oh my God, that'd be so expensive.
Yeah.
But hey, A+ for supporting the arts, bro.
Only expensive if you spend money there.
I mean,
You could just sit and watch, I guess.
I feel like that's frowned upon.
It is frowned upon.
And he talks about getting dances from people.
I've only been to 2 strip clubs in my life, and I hated it both times. I do not like the whole vibe of a strip club.
Mm.
I think it depends very much on the place you're at.
I've never been to one with ladies.
Nice.
I've only been to like 2.
Have you gone to ones in Nashville?
No, those are trash. Don't go to those.
Yeah, maybe that's the problem. I just don't really like, I don't know. We don't have to get into it. Like, I don't really want to see a woman naked unless she wants to see me naked. It's like that kind of thing, you know?
So are you also not into burlesque? Because I find burlesque much nicer. I'm a big burlesque fan.
So I love drag, as you know, and
Of course.
burlesque to me feels like it's in a similar family as drag. And I realize that's
Yes.
super reductive. And burlesque is its very own art form. But
There's
like,
a lot of blurring. Yeah,
yes,
no, I get
but
you.
but I do sort of love burlesque.
Yeah.
But it's not for, maybe I'm wrong. I've never watched a burlesque performance and been like turned on. But I definitely have watched a burlesque performance and been like, holy shit, that was impressive. You
Yeah,
know?
oh yeah, I've seen both, I would say. Yeah.
Depending on who you're with and what's going on and the kind of club it is, of like some of them are just really like drink there and then there's people dancing and you throw money. But some of them are very bad.
Yeah, both times I went, they were for bachelor parties, and like I sort of felt like obligated to go.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a place in those those strip clubs for people who clearly didn't want to be there but had to be there because they were chaperoning their drunk ass friends,
Mm.
you know, on their special night or whatever. So I just felt uncomfortable the whole time.
Mine was more entertaining because one of our friends just spent like $3,000 and it was like watching a car wreck, and that was very entertaining in a way. If you've ever had a stripper bring your friend back and say, I feel bad for taking more of his money, can you guys take care of him?
Whoa,
Wow.
girl, you gotta stop snitching on yourself. Take that money.
I know, right?
No, he paid for 2 champagne room Don Perignon bottles or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
And like all of us at the bachelor party were like, wow, champagne would have been really fun to drink together at this bachelor party.
Well, but that's not how it works. That's
I don't think he paid for the champagne.
yeah, I mean, that's what they're saying, but you know, like
That's what's going to be on that credit card receipt.
yeah.
It was hilarious.
Is he single? Does he not interact with ladies in a sexual way on a
He
regular
is
basis?
100% married. And I was like,
Oh no.
I don't see how you hide a purchase like that, you know?
Oh, he was married at the time?
Oh
Yes.
god. Unless you're like, hey, I'm going, here's what I'm going to spend. Yeah.
I'm cutting this. I ain't getting nobody divorced. Like, this is a bad. Yeah. Because your friend fucked a stripper, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, I don't think so. I think he was too drunk to do it. I think he just gave her a bunch of money to feel loved, which I think is sad.
That would make me so uncomfortable unless I knew they had some sort of understanding, I guess.
I
but-
don't know. And then he got thrown out because he was too drunk.
I literally was like, hey, we got to move this along. My Taco Bell closes at midnight, but I just looked it up. It's open till 1 a.m. We're good.
Taco Bell sounds fucking delicious.
Hell yeah. I'm going to go get me 2 slices of a Mexican. Peace.
Anyway, we cut to the mama's boy comes in and he's like, I met this girl. She has a son. We cut to that girl or that woman with the son
Yeah.
and her friend, Lauren and Candace, having lunch together at the restaurant where Michael Ealy works. And as a line cook, which means that he's making slightly above minimum wage depending on the restaurant.
Yeah.
And this is the dreamer versus the woman who is her own man, which I find really reductive as a name. And maybe it's because I am one of these ladies to a degree, but I'm like, no, she's just a successful woman. That's all you have to say. Like the fact that you're like, she is her own man, meaning that a man would fill that successful role, but she has taken it on, is some fucking bullshit. And I hate it a lot.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I mean, this sort of is what men want sort of talked about, but does it in a much better way.
It does, although they do in this movie misquote Cher, and I hate that too, because Cher famously, her mom said, you need to marry a rich man, and she said, Mama, I am a rich man. And that's one of my favorite things anyone's ever said, because it's just like, fuck y'all, I've got my own money. It's got
Yeah.
the best energy. And instead, someone uses this against Lauren to be like, you don't want a man, you are a man, as a way to try and like cut her down. And I fucking hate that a lot.
I mean, there are also dudes out there who would like nothing more than to be a stay-at-home dad.
Or to just have a food truck. You know, people with
Sure,
unequal incomes
yeah.
get married all the time.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, man. Like, this movie is so reductive. It focuses so hard on archetypes. It hits like maybe 8 people and then like leaves out the gray of everyday life.
Yes. But he sees her and is like, she's gorgeous. And everyone's like, she's out of your league. But we cut to them eating and she and Candace are talking and she's like, when was the last guy you met, Candace? Because Candace is telling her that she met the mama's boy. And she's like, it's been like 2 years since the divorce, so it's actually really nice and he's great.
Yeah.
He's a little younger, but whatever. Then we cut to Mama's boy describing her to the other men in a real gross way.
Yeah.
Where it's just about her body and nothing else about her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I get that she is beautiful and that is what you've noticed, and that's great. And I love that you think that she is beautiful and you are attracted to her, A+. However, it is implied that they went out and talked and there's no other info. And then he finally gets into like, well, she read this book that I picked up from my mom's book club. Like, she's super happy, but she had to find a babysitter for her son. And then they're just like, ew, no, she has a kid. And it's
I
just
know.
like,
It's so terrible.
it's so terrible. I was just like, oh my God. Like, they should all be single at the end of this because fuck all of them.
Yeah.
When the movie, like, because for a second page, like, they're all single at the same time. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, if the movie sort of ended 10 minutes minutes after this and they've all learned a valuable lesson and are going to move on with their lives, I might see liking this movie overall.
Maybe.
Because all of them should be single. They were lying full out to their partners.
Well, they were all part of relationships that were not working
Yeah.
and never quite recognized their part in it not working. They pretend to as a way to manipulate people. And then in the end, they're like, I'm sorry for manipulating you. And you're just like, that is one part of it, sure. But there is a little section in this where they're theorizing, like, well, who is the father of her kid and how does that play into it? That Kevin Hart tells a crazy story where he's like, could be somebody who hides in a bush and pops out and hits him with a brick. But it turns out that that guy was just interested in her platonically. And they're like, did they ever catch that guy? And he's like, cold case. They couldn't find the brick. And I was like, do we think that Kevin Hart hit someone with a brick or was hit with a brick?
Hit with a brick.
Kevin Hart was walking a coworker he was not romantically interested in home from work and got assaulted with a brick and they called the cops. Like, that is what happened. And it was just like a throwaway thing so fast. It was so funny.
It is. But I'm just like, who bricked him in the head?
If I had my guess, for some reason, it would be Robert Evans, but only because I hear about him talking about bricking people all the time. But for him, it's like people he talks about on Behind the Bastards. It's not
Right.
like Kevin Hart. It's like Mussolini and shit, you know?
Mussolini could have used a brick.
Yeah.
Mussolini.
Mussolini.
Hit me
It's
with
me,
a
the
brick.
Mussolini.
Why you brick on my head?
Honestly, you know who's a really good guy?
No.
Mussolini. Because he's like the opposite of Mussolini, who is a terrible guy.
Wow, Mussolini.
Wild War II.
Ah.
Jake is playing Mario right now, by the way.
Well, tell Jake my killer Mussolini joke.
So stupid. Oh, I like that a lot. Anyway, we cut back to the two women having dinner, and this is where Taraji P. Henson is like, men shouldn't be intimidated by my success. It should be a selling point, which I agree.
It
Appreciate
absolutely
smart,
is.
successful ladies.
I would love to marry
Yeah.
rich.
Everyone would, I think. Anyway, but she, and I think accurately says, she's like, there's no such thing as being too strong. If I were a man, this would be a good thing and it would be something to attract people to me. And
Yeah.
literally they're just like, yeah, well, men and women, wah, wah. And I'm just like, fuck this movie.
Man, I'll be honest with you. If I was single, I wanted a date with somebody, and they were the COO of a company, I would be like, Mikey, I think I hit the fucking jackpot.
Yeah. Well, and like, I feel like, is there a conversation to be had with her of, I think you're prioritizing some material things over the way a relationship actually makes you feel and someone investing in you as a person.
Absolutely.
That's a completely different conversation, you know?
Yes.
And no one has that conversation with her. They're just like, you should stop flashing your money around because people are going to get intimidated. Like, it's so dumb. I'm just like,
Yeah, my point only is that if men look at a woman who is successful and they're like, gross, that's dumb.
yeah.
Celebrate their success.
Yeah. They might share some with you.
I mean, if they're your partner, that's like it's a win for the whole unit, right? Whether it's a
Right.
family or just the two of you or whatever. Like,
Win for my unit.
Nice.
I never regret when Mikey like just pops in the conversation. It's always a value add.
I mean,
I genuinely feel that way, Mikey. I feel like you think I'm joking. Like, I love it. It's funny.
You're like the Mussolini.
my name is a Mussolini. Come to my mansion.
Mussolini.
It's full of ghosts.
Your lasagna's in another castle.
You put two ghost lasagnas on top of each
No,
other.
No.
don't. Fuck you.
No.
Fuck you.
Are you stacking them before they're baked or after
No,
they're baked?
I
'Cause
I
that's
just, I can't actually visualize it in my
I
mind
can't do this.
because I can't visualize.
So when I say lasagna, do you like picture lasagna or do you hear in your brain a lasagna?
No, I picture a typewriter typing click, 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 and it just comes across lasagna.
Oh, sometimes I picture that too.
Oh, I thought Mikey was joking.
I was.
Oh.
I pictured a typewriter typing the word lasagna as I told the joke.
There you go.
So I wasn't joking. Or was I? Where's the line?
I only hear the layers slapping down on top of the ricotta cheese that the previous layer was built on, and it sounds delicious.
Well, it sounds like a carb is having sex out there.
Have you ever had sex with a carb?
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
I fucks with the bread, Paige.
You get a yeast infection that way.
I've definitely had carbs that I've liked better than sex I've had. Yeast infection. That's That's a good joke.
That's why they pay me some bucks.
That's why they pay me. What was the Panic Fest payout? $33.
$33.33.
Guys, we only have to do 400,000 live shows like that to be able to retire.
Mikey, what if I told you that trip cost the company about $4,000?
Yeah.
I 100% believe that part.
Anyway, back to this movie. So we cut to Turtle and Gabrielle Union's house, where he brought home pizza and is like, oh my God, we got robbed, but it was only my nerd shit. And she's just like, hey, no, I thought we would paint the room and redecorate and get a new couch. And then when they show the couch, holy shit.
I mean, they hold it back for a reveal like this. And man, was it everything I hoped it would be. Because
Ugh.
it is like held together with duct tape, stains all over it.
It's not an
crazy.
adult's couch.
No.
It reminds me of my first couch in Los Angeles when we lived in Culver City, where they filmed this.
Was this your couch page?
It may as well have been. It was pretty damn close because my roommate at the time got the couch because it was the garage couch of her boyfriend who lived with his parents but was currently in Norway with his metal band. And so we came and picked up the couch. It was so big that it broke the like molding on the door as we tried to put it in the house.
Of course
We
it
finally
did.
got it in, and it was this like puke colored suede with stains on it. We're pretty sure it gave the cat fleas at one point. And then 6 months into having that couch, she found out that her boyfriend had been cheating on her with every single girl he encountered in Norway. And she was so furious and was like, come get your fucking couch. And he was like, it's your problem now. And then we were stuck with the couch. And then when we tried to move out, we couldn't get it out of the house. So we called the fire department to see if they would let us chop it up and push it out the window into the dumpster and light it on fire. And they would not. And so we listed it on Craigslist, and miraculously a giant family came and like had it out of the house in minutes. And we sat on the floor for the last like month and a half. But yeah,
Well, that's a story more interesting than this movie.
great.
Because it had one solid through line.
This sounds like the Sean's couch of this friend group because they all say that they've had sex on it.
Yes, one of them has had sex on it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I never had sex on Sean's couch.
It was a nicer couch, too. Like, I would put that couch in an adult house.
Would you put it in your adult house?
It doesn't really match my, like, motif because it's black. That was a black couch.
What kind of fabric are we talking about? Leather?
It wasn't
Sort of
leather. It was like cloth. It was cloth. It was like a sectional, I think.
Does still have it? I want to buy it. I'll bleep the name.
I don't know if she still has it or not. We are not friends on social media anymore.
That's right. Okay. Would it be weird if I reached...
No, I think you should reach out for an interview. I really liked her and she like ghosted me.
I mean, I will reach out and buy the couch from her if she has it.
I think she's got a new boyfriend.
I don't want to buy her boyfriend.
I just want the couch and claim that it's for like a horror virgin office or something. And black goes great because horror movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that.
But Mikey, we're moving into your place.
Okay.
No, Todd, we got to move it into your place so you and Natalie can have sex on it and complete the spell.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that you thought we weren't going to do that at Mikey's place.
Well, it's not a Chewy's.
Yeah. I don't want to leave him alone for 5 minutes. I don't want that queso on my couch.
I'm going to order the brown chicken brown cow.
Oh, God.
Just a plate of sizzling condoms with bell peppers for some reason.
Because they're delicious, Paige.
Anyway, so she's like, here's some color palettes. And he's like, no, can you just do that? I don't want to do this at all.
It's crazy, man. Like, he does give her carte blanche to do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
Like, when she spends all that money making it look great, that is what he said to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, some people don't like decorating. Like, that's the thing. Some people just don't.
Oh, I thought it was wild they weren't, like, talking budgets. You know,
Oh,
like, I
yeah.
understand, like, maybe he isn't into it. He's like for me, when we moved into this place, I was like, I suck at decorating. Like, I'm happy to be involved. Like, I went with her to these places to look at these things. But I was like, if you want something, I'm not really going to have any opinions. So, like, just tell me and I'm game. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not great at decorating, but I do have opinions. Like I want
Sure.
to figure it out together kind of thing.
Same. And I guess my point was, if she's like, hey, this goes with this better than what you said, I'm going to be like, I'm sure that's true. Like, I have no idea.
That's kind of how what I was like, I kind of want
Yeah.
what this, like Alexa helped me like pick out a lot of stuff because I would like describe it and she was very good at being like, what about this? And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's exactly what I was talking about. Like,
Yeah. I don't know if this is universal, but Natalie was was really good at that too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we cut to the player versus the 90-day rule girl.
Right.
And this is the like, I control the cookie, so I control the game. I withhold sex, and therefore I can control the relationship. Instead of like having a discussion about when you might be comfortable engaging in sexual behavior, whatever. So we cut to, she's kind of describing it to her friend, and her friend is like, this seems crazy, but okay. And then they run into Chris Brown, who again calls her a different name.
But it's like Melanie. It's a different M name every time.
It's Monique, I think is what he calls her. in this one.
Okay.
But yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, while they're having this conversation, they meet the player whose name I don't remember because this movie doesn't do great at introducing anyone ever.
No, it does not.
Oh, Zeke. Zeke is his name. And he buys them drinks and they agree to go out to dinner another time. So we cut to the restaurant where Candace and Lauren are leaving because this movie plays fast and loose with time and when things are happening in a way that is mind-boggling.
Yes.
As they're leaving, they're about to get into their car when Michael Ealy gets called to go valet. He drives up in a nice car. She's like, oh, nice car. Okay. Like, great. He steals a car.
I mean, they say later that car was $135,000.
155.
Oh, shit. I mean, yeah. So, like,
Yeah.
a crazy amount of money.
Well, and he gets fired because of this, which, like, of course.
He technically stole a car. So,
Yeah. But so they, through the windows, are just like, okay, like, well, dinner tomorrow night or whatever, because she believes him to be some rich, hot guy.
I do love how he has to open the door because he can't figure out the window. That was hilarious to me.
Anyway, this is where we kind of cut through the montage of like, what are your short-term goals? Intercut with them playing basketball because it's all they ever do, where they're like, Michael Ealy, what are you going to do? You lied to this lady and like, now you don't even have a job. What are you going to do? And they tell him to lie to her. Like, they literally are like, gotta lie.
Oh, yeah. They literally are like, please manipulate her.
Yes. We briefly cut to Turtle and Gabrielle Union's house where they try to throw out and act like a $6,500 Eames lounger is like his old furniture, which is crazy.
Yeah. And it looked brand new. Like,
Yes, and she's bought a whole bunch of furniture with a designer there from HD Buttercup, which is a huge furniture store in Culver City that I remember going there once when I first moved to Culver City, like right around this time, a couple years before this, and like walking in and seeing the price on one thing and then being like, oh, I'll never afford to walk. Like, I
have to walk out immediately.
I just have to Kool-Aid man my way back out of the door. Anyway, this is where we cut back to Megan Good's character trying to figure out the stuff with Zeke and all of the things that she's no longer going to tolerate. Like, he has to open the door. I'm not a chirp girl. It's, all this whole list of things because according to her, she wants to be a keeper, not a sport fish. And they go through this whole thing of like, what's a keeper? Basically placing women's values on policing their sexual choices.
And comparing that to fishing.
Well, there's a lot of fish in the
Fucking
sea.
hate it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just don't love it, Mikey.
Yeah, no, I don't like it at all.
It's awful.
Do you open the door for your dates, Mikey?
I do.
Same. I still open Natalie's car door.
My dad opens doors. I drive a lot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Natalie will drive sometimes.
Yeah.
Because we only have one car, and sometimes she'll have to drop me off at work or whatever. So, but I'll still open her door. I'll run around and open her door and then run back to the passenger side.
Okay, so we only have one parking space, but we have two cars.
Okay.
Which means that like once one car is parked on the street, it doesn't move unless it absolutely has to.
Right.
And my car is the one parked up at the top. Because Jake doesn't want me parking on the street for safety reasons. I am 5'2" and carry-offable.
And he is a Norse god. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
And so I am often driving, and usually he'll take out the trash, and then I'll drive down and pick him up, and then he'll get in the car and we go wherever we're going to go.
And I'm assuming that when you say take out the trash, you mean he goes out and beats up people so you can get to your car.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't worry about it, babe. I'm going to go take out the trash.
Yeah, I get to the bottom of the hill and he's like, clear!
Serpentine!
All I'm saying is that I understand where this is coming from, this idea that you want to show respect for people, and there's nothing wrong
Absolutely.
with doing that.
Yeah.
But to have it as a blanket, like if someone doesn't do this, they don't respect you, is bonkers to me. Anyway, So he does open the door for her, but she kind of has to like stand there for a while for him to do it, but he does. And kind of cut through everybody asking about short-term and long-term goals, where like the mama's boy is like, they're the same thing because it's always improving myself and I just want somebody I can share it with, which is great.
Yeah.
But then the player is like, let's skip dinner and get right to dessert. And then on Michael Ealy's date with Taraji P. Henson, it's like, well, let's not talk about our jobs. Let's just talk about each other. And what are your dreams and the things that kind of you want for your life that's not just tied to what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
And it allows them to kind of connect on a better level because he sees her as more than just her job, which is great. But then we cut to Turtle and Gabrielle Union, who take a bong hit and just like chill out. And she's like, what do you think about the future? And he's like, hovercrafts, we better have droids.
Definitely going to be droids.
And I'm like, I don't know what answer you expected after bong hits.
Yeah.
Like, because that'd be my answer.
I definitely have had that conversation that Turtle's having right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But literally, I'm like, I don't know why we don't have flying cars yet.
Dude, we can't even figure out self-driving cars. Let's
Oh.
just like leave flying cars alone for a bit.
True. But we cut to the end of the player's date, Zeke. And what is her name in this movie? I know it's Megan Good, but like, what is her character's name? Good Lord.
You're just as bad as Chris Brown. Her name is Maya.
Maya, oh my God, you're right. Oh my God, it's a running joke in the movie. How did I forget it? Zeke and Maya.
He Googled it.
You know what, Mikey? I did Google it because I utilize my resources.
Anyway, this is where Zeke reveals that he used to be a musician and plays a song for her, and it's okay. It's not bad for a fake song in a movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not amazing. It could be way worse. There have been way worse.
It's like a Bad Boys to Men kind of thing.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. When you've got Boys to Men, why would you settle for anything less? Boys to Men truly slaps.
I really wish they had just been like, hey, Boys to Men, can we like steal
Can
one
we
of your
pretend that
songs
this guy
for
wrote
this?
Mama?
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's fine.
Although we've come to the end of this date, still you're gonna make me wait for 3 months or more because of this dumb book.
I mean, it would work.
It would work. But we cut from there to Taraji P. Henson and Michael Ealy going at it. And she's like, I don't do this on the first date. Who cares? They lay it out.
Yeah.
Then we cut to the mama's boy and Candace. He's like, my actual goal was to kiss you. Great, done.
Yeah.
He's like, I really want you to meet my mom. And she's like, I'd love for you to meet my son. And he opens the door and he's right there.
Yeah.
And he's great with her son immediately, where he's like, how about Street Racer 3? Now, I would say, from what we see in this movie, this man is a little childish, where, like, it's cool that he's relating to the kid, but at certain points I always feel like you're more into the video, like, you're the kid's friend, not a parent. Like, this is the connection with your mom. She's doing your laundry. It's a whole lot of weird.
Oh, yeah, I definitely do think this movie plays him like he is Arrested Development, might be the right term for him. But, like, I understand trying to connect with the single mother you're dating's child through video games.
I do.
Because I have actively done that.
It reminded me of, was it How Stella Got Her Groove Back? Where he was like hanging out with her kid and was like closer friends with her kid.
That was weirder. I just made like this guy's more of like a let's play Minecraft together type age and build a house, like build a thing.
Yeah, I don't know, which is fine. I think it's just combined with everything else. I'm like,
Yes. Because like I don't know his job or where he lives and stuff of that nature.
I think he might live with his mother.
I think he does and lies about it, honestly. We cut to the next morning, where Michael Ealy brings her breakfast in bed, and where he made eggs Florentine while using her Thai takeout. Great.
Yeah.
One of the best parts of having chef friends is how they are able to magic leftovers into something that somehow tastes even better. It's great. But they're kind of like connecting, where she's like, oh my gosh, I love a man who can cook. He's like, I like a woman who can eat. Let's do it again sometime. And he notices the picture of Candace and Duke, her son, on the side table. And he's like, you're not what I picture when I hear godmother. And I was like, why? Like, a lot of godmothers are mostly young at some point. Like, I'm a godmother.
Yeah. And you're probably younger than she was in this movie.
Yeah. Anyway, so we cut to, they're all talking about how Maya is requiring him to answer the door and all this stuff, and they still haven't had sex. And Kevin Hart's like, Gail used to do the door thing. Like, it's a trick. It's all a trap, this whole thing. And Michael Ealy comes in and is just like, we're fucked because it went really well. She thinks I'm a chef on the rise. What am I going to do? How am I going to, figure this out? So we cut to the mama's boy talking to his mom and being like, I'm dating a single mom and she's awesome because you were awesome. This is great. Awesome.
When he introduces her to his mother
Oh.
and his mother becomes a completely different, terrible person, I was like, oh, I hate this. This is terrible.
So much.
Why would anybody do this to their child they love? Mom! No, I'm just joking. My mom never did anything like this. My mom's always been great.
We cut over to Turtle and Gabrielle Union's house where she has like completely redecorated. And then we cut to him and his friends all talking about everything bad that has happened.
Back at the bar. Yeah.
There's so much of just like we see little snippets and we see them talking back together and we see little snippets and it's exhausting.
It's a lot of quick cuts in this. It's like a Marvel movie, quick cuts. There's like a full Avengers thing going on in here.
Yeah.
It does sort of feel like Avengers because there's 16 main characters.
Yeah. Anyway, we cut through everyone again. The only real information we get at this point is that Turtle could potentially apply for a job at Neversoft because he interned there once and there's an opening.
Yeah.
Great. This is also where we realize, or Michael Ealy and the mama's boy realize that Candace and Lauren are best friends. They could double date, although that never comes to fruition. They get in a brief basketball fight with Meta World Peace and a bunch of other NBA players and
I think WNBA player.
and one WNBA player.
Yeah. I love that Kevin Hart picks to guard her.
Yeah.
And she is twice his height.
Although we don't really see much of that till the credits, but it is very funny.
I love me a tall girl.
What's her face from Game of Thrones?
Gregor Clegane.
Yeah, the mountain.
What?
Oh.
Gwendolyn Christie. Gwendolyn Christie? Yes.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Natalie's really short, and she asked me, she's like, do you only date short girls? And I was like, no, I don't really care about height that much.
I've dated short guys, and
And as a short guy, we appreciate it.
you're welcome. And a man that our neighbors call Waterman because he looks like white Jason Momoa. So
But Paige was like, you got to H2 go.
H2 go. They call him Waterman because he get me wet. Anyway, so we cut to everything's about to go wrong. It's the second act, and so everything needs to be ruined. And so
Right.
Lauren's making a speech. It turns out Dominic is one of the caterers there, and spills, and now she's like, "Oh, you're poor. Oh,
This ruins everything.
you ruined everything, Dom.
No, Francesca ruined it, Dom. You had nothing to do, you beautiful bastard.
Dom, it wasn't your fault."
What made me mad is when her and that other guy from Love is Blind come and make the joke that she rematched and he comes sad. I was like, he's right there.
Also, I remember that guy from Love is Blind, and he was not that great.
Who, Bartiz?
No, not Bartiz, Damien or whatever.
Oh, no, Damien was a bag of shit nickels on a Sunday in the heat. Like, I hate that dude.
If I was on that show, I'd be like, this beach is nice and everyone's crazy and I'm just here for this ride.
Right there, that kind of commentary is why I want Nick Lachey or the person who's like hosting the show to be forced to stay in the house with them.
Yes.
And then we don't get like a host. We get like a host with like a war correspondent vibe. And that's what I want out of these shows.
Mikey, I want to tell you something that's my favorite thing, and it won't really spoil anything for you. But in the very, recentest episode, there are enough rooms that no one has to go home. It takes them the whole episode to figure it out the
They're so
entire time.
dumb.
Where they're like, I got a match with somebody so I don't go home. And it's like, bruh, everyone could stay. All you have to do is to agree to sleep in the same room with somebody tonight. Everyone can stay. And it takes them the whole episode to figure that out.
I think it's like 3 a.m. by the time they get it figured out.
3 a.m.
I love it. The older I get, the more I'm like, I need to be on a reality show.
I just want to see Francesca be like, Mikey shit on the bathroom floor.
I know enough about basic psychology.
Oh, you would have stayed away from Francesca, but we need to talk about Inez.
I'd be like, Francesca, I don't actually want you. So, like, what are you going to do with that? And she'd be like,
you know.
she would match with me immediately.
Yes. The second you were like, I don't give a shit about you, Francesca, she would be like, I need him to give a shit about
Yeah.
me.
I'd be like, what was your father's name?
Oh, dark.
I'm sorry.
Taco Bell closes at 1.
We gotta get through. We gotta move. I'm sorry. So we get to Candace meeting the mama's boy's mom, who is immediately cruel to her.
She's a diabolical nightmare for no reason. It made me so mad. Because up to this point, she's been like super great. Nice, a little overly, I don't know, connected to her son maybe, but like not a bad person. She treats the single mom badly.
Yeah, it's downright Oedipal, you might say.
Yeah. Which doesn't mean you can eat it, Mikey.
No, it means that they might be eating it, and that's why they need therapy.
Gross.
Anyway, we cut to Maya and Zeke on their date, and she invites him in for a nightcap, and he like kisses her neck, which is like amazing. But then they basically just stay up all night eating Milano cookies and drinking coffee, and I'm just like, this sounds great.
But it is very clear that he thought they were about to have sex. Like, he puts on, like, put your clothes on the floor. I'm going to take my clothes off too. Or whatever. He's, like, got a condom in his mouth. Like,
throw your clothes on the floor.
I'm not in a singing contest with you. I was just trying to get to the joke.
It's Boys to Men.
It's Boys to Men, and you have to fucking respect it.
He doesn't get these jokes.
I'm the one that brought up Boys to Men first. Oh, believe me. Church Todd knew some Boys to Men.
I will do anything. Girl, you need only yes.
I'll make love to you. Mikey wants me to. In this Chewy's bathroom. We're gonna do it all night.
I feel God in this Chewy's tonight.
More like you feel Todd in this Chewy's
Ugh.
tonight. Am I
Oh,
right? Am I
yeah.
right? Am I right? Anyway, so we cut to the next morning. He comes home and he's like, we just stayed up all night fucking drinking coffee and talking. I didn't get any sex. But yeah, we're hanging out Saturday night. Whatever. Like he's slowly like falling in love with her, essentially.
Yeah.
So everything kind of comes crashing down where Maya runs into Chris Brown again.
Yeah.
But she does have her granny panties so that she won't be tempted to undress, basically, which is kind of funny.
I did think that was kind of funny. And it
I've had girls be like, I don't look sexy in these granny pants. I'm like, girl.
Foolish mortals.
I mean, Mikey, have you? I mean, I have been in the situation where they said almost exactly that, and I would be like, I don't care what you look like in them.
I didn't shave my legs. I'm like Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive. I'm like,
I don't care. Same, Mikey.
So we encounter a problem with Candace and the mama's boy where she's like, you kind of got to choose between us. This is not working out.
Yeah.
And all kind of culminates in Kevin Hart's divorce party where they're going to the ass factory as opposed to the sweaty crack, which shut down for a health code violation. Very, very funny.
I did think that was very funny too, yeah.
But this is where they find out about the book.
Yeah, because the mama's boy, like they drop off the mama's boy at his mom's house, I guess, and she's reading it. So he is like, get your ass back here. We got to go through this book.
Well, and they come back, they go through the book.
They're literally all holed up in the mama's boy's like childhood room, like going through it. Yeah.
Yep. So then they're like, aha, we're going to use these books to trick them into thinking that we are good dudes.
All instead of having one honest conversation with the
so...
woman they love.
Or sending one resume. Like, anyway, so a lot of different things happen here. Turtle and Gabrielle Union get the couch, and he tells her that he sends that resume off. Michael Ealy does that rooftop dinner, which is very cool.
Yes.
The mama's boy changes his mom's number to work in his phone. So it sounds like he's ignoring calls from work to spend time with them, but really it's his mom. And then they continue to have Maya and Zeke have a couple dates, but he says, I love you, which basically...
But he says it for real.
I think he does say it for real.
Well, it says in the movie.
I think he does say it for real,
because the movie's
too.
like, oh, it slipped out that those... Because he said be the girlfriend as part of the lying, but then the I love you slipped out, and they could have just had an honest conversation of, I really like you, it's really hard not to have sex with you.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, part of the reason that he says I love you is because she passes his CD to like a record producer who ends up really liking him. Like,
and she's really nice to him and like does thoughtful gifts and stuff. It's like it's very
yeah.
But essentially, it goes well until the next morning, when everything kind of starts to go wrong. Because and we do get cuts of like they're having like Michael Ealy and Taraji P. Henson are like having sex with like lava cake. Like everything seems to be going great for everybody until Gabrielle Union's like, hey, weird thing, but I heard from so-and-so that the position is open and they couldn't find your resume.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why wouldn't he just apply? This is so stupid.
I honestly thought he did send his resume before, like, because it was such a stupid thing to lie about.
Right. Yeah. We cut to Michael Ealy gets in his busted car. He drives off. Morris Chestnut drives up in a Porsche, and she's just like, Morris Chestnut, oh my gosh. And it's like, I don't blame you, girl.
Here are all the things I thought I wanted.
Yeah, here's everything I thought I wanted. And they agree to go on a date. We cut to Candace is asking the mama's boy to go to the family reunion. He's like, I can't. Got to take my mom to this thing, but I'll figure out a way to go.
Yeah.
Great. So then we find out that the record company actually wants to meet with Zeke. He says the I love you. They sleep together. We cut to the next morning. He goes out to get breakfast. She finds the book in his dresser drawer or his side table, his nightstand, which also I'm like, you were all using this book. You can't be mad that other people read it. That's a weird double standard. But even though the book is terrible, but like.
But I mean, in this world, it is sold out everywhere.
Yeah.
Who do you think's buying the book? Everybody. It stands to reason he might have read this book.
Yeah, it's wild. And so she freaks out and leaves, even though he did legitimately, like, he had fallen for her, but whatever.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Candace answers the phone, finds out it's the mom, so she breaks up. Then Michael Ealy and Taraji P. Henson have that, like, lunch date where she's like, hey, let's take a break because I want to bone Morris Chestnut. And he's just like, fuck you. You're behaving like a man. And I was like, oh, how does it fucking feel? This movie did not resonate well with me.
I've had the exact, like, I just want to be friends. I have a lot of friends, so we don't have to, like, pretend to be friends. We could just
I
separate.
love that. I've said that to people.
I thought it was great too.
It's real fun. Put some stink on it and just be like, I don't need no new friends. It's great. Fun thing to say to people.
I'm not accepting friend applications. Fuck, I had a better line for this. Do you mind if I check my notes app? I think I wrote something for this. Like, that doesn't go over well when you're saying those kind of things in this moment.
We cut to Turtle and Gabrielle Union's house, and all of his stuff is back with a note that basically is like, we're fucking over because you wouldn't send in a fucking resume. And then the resume is taped to it where he's like, like formatted a resume, but it just says blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why would you do this?
When I saw that, that is like sociopathic levels of like work he put into aggressively not
better his own situation in a job that he believably would love. Like, I don't understand.
I hope he got that job at Neversoft and then they tanked and he got fired.
I think that's what happened.
You see, Paige, men don't better themselves without a woman helping them or the motivation of sex being at the end of the tunnel to better themselves.
See, that's another problematic theme of this film because I disagree. I think that anyone is capable of seeking to better themselves for any number of reasons. I did like the quick shot that we get of the two of them dressed as the Na'vi from Avatar.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh no, the nerd ran too deep.
But that is the person you marry.
Oh,
yeah. The person who, like, you're both that level of nerdy about, not necessarily the Na'vi, but like anything that you're super into. Yeah.
Look, my dad loves pirate shit. And one time Jake came over and it was my dad's birthday weekend. He's like, we're going to the pirate festival. We should all dress up. And we were like, we didn't bring costumes. My dad's like, I've got enough for everyone. And Jake very willingly and eagerly put on a pirate costume to make my dad happy. And that's why we are married. I mean, there's a lot of other reasons, but that's one of them. So like, you know, I get it.
It's a good moment.
If somebody's down to Na'vi out with you, marry that person for sure.
Yes. I would have worn your dad's pirate costume on my tiny frame. It would have been wild. You guys could have called me the cabin boy the whole day.
Well, I would have called you Smee. We wouldn't have even put you in the boo box. It would have been great.
R.I.P. Glenn Close.
Glenn Close is fully alive.
She is the person in the boo box.
No, I know.
In the hook,
I know, but Glenn Close.
I wasn't announcing Glenn Close's death.
Anyway, Zeke doesn't want to hit on ladies anymore. Maya pulls her calendars down. Michael Ealy finds a Morisco's truck for sale, and they have a debate about what kind of meat is in the McRib, and the answer is think smaller and more legs.
Spiders? What kind of meat is in it?
No one knows.
It's pork.
Allegedly.
Pork adjacent.
Porkish. And we do find out that Turtle got the interview, or went to one interview and then got the job, but he feels like he can't call Chris because they're broken up.
Yeah.
Great. So they all decide that they're going to celebrate. And this is the one where their one friend's like, oh, I got to go because my wife and I have a thing because I love her. And you're just like, imagine that. Oh my gosh. Imagine doing something for someone you love because you love them and not because you have some manipulative thing to gain. Imagine.
And you genuinely enjoy spending time with her. Yeah, I mean, I
Who
love
knew?
it. We get zero of his story because it's the only healthy one.
We then get Kevin Hart is like, I used to cook for Gail. Oh my God, I miss Gail. So he goes to the bathroom, calls Gail. This is when we find out it's Wendy Williams,
Yeah.
which is wild. And then the toilet flushes and a guy comes out.
And we realize that Kevin Hart was not the only one working through some shit on that call.
Yes, but my favorite is that he goes, who shits with a hat on? And I was like, I've never shit with a hat on. He's right.
Go to Gail. Go to her.
Or don't. I feel like Gail might be a bit abusive.
Well, the guy taking a shit didn't know that.
Yeah, I did love that he came out of the bathroom and was like, hey, man, congrats, bro. Like, go to Gail. Go to her.
Go to her. And so he comes out and he's just like, Gail's taking me back. Bye.
Yeah.
So he leaves. Everyone kind of disperses. And the mama's boy comes back and finds his mama in flagrante with Deacon Johnson. Oh my goodness. And she's made him wait 90 days because she was reading the book too.
But he's like, hey, man, these are $19 a pill. We got to get back on this sex
go.
horse or whatever you call it nowadays.
We got 3 hours and 57 minutes. Let's go.
Before I have to
Go to the
contact
hospital.
a physician.
Anyway, we cut to the open house where Gabrielle Union has finally sold the house to this one couple that's been there a couple times.
Yeah.
And Turtle shows up and proposes to her, and she, against her better judgment, says yes.
Yes, mistake. But I do think this is a funny scene because the couple who ends up buying the house has been like looked at from Gabrielle Union as like, that's what I want. I want a man who is like ready to put down roots and his wife is pregnant and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then as she's getting proposed to, that married couple are watching, right?
Right.
And Turtle is like, I want to buy you a house. And the guy's like, hell yeah, man, put down those roots or whatever. And then he goes, I want to buy you this house. And he immediately goes, fuck you, this is my house.
I like that part a
I was
lot.
just like, yeah, that dude has bought a house before. Like,
Yeah.
buying a house is hell on wheels, man.
Oh, it's the worst. I hate it so much. We cut to an open mic where Zeke shows up and plays that breakup song that he wrote about another girl for Maya. And she's just like, oh my God, for me, yes. And
Oh my God, that song he wrote about another girl, but then I thought was for me for a reason.
for some reason, and he
Yeah.
does say that he says, I love you, and like legitimately means it.
Yeah, he even clarifies it.
Yeah.
He's like, I am in love with you. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want there to be any illusions about what's happening right here.
We cut to Candace's family reunion where we learn that she is related to Lunel, who gets less than 10 seconds in this movie, which is painful to my heart because she's one of the funniest people on earth.
She's very funny.
So funny. I was so upset. I'm like, damn it. Like, could Lunel have been one of the ladies? That would have been great. Anyway, he just shows up. Mama's boy shows up to her family reunion and is just like, by the way, I'm in love with this woman and I'm not talking to my mother anymore. Which in the middle of a family reunion, people would just be like, what is this?
A family that he has not
Never met.
them.
Never
This
met
is
any of
his
these
first
people.
family reunion, and everyone's gonna be like, "What? Are you still dating crazy picnic table stander guy?"
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. If ever at a family gathering, someone's just like, excuse me, everyone, I have an announcement. Either they're announcing that they're pregnant, they're getting married, or they're coming out. It's one of the three. Those are the only three you're allowed to announce. Maybe divorce. But like, to just be like, I'm dating someone, everyone would be like, that guy's fucking nuts, right? Like, what is happening?
Also, she already told us you're not.
Yeah.
Because she was talking with someone at that gathering already about how she was single again.
Right. Well, and then he launches into, and I think this is a case of them trying to make a joke and it playing badly and just not playing out the way that they.
Oh, the make her a hot dog? The make him a hot
Yes!
dog thing? I was like,
And here's the thing. I know that he's doing this in a sense of like, I am connected to you and you making me a plate is a visible display of that. I understand. But the way that he does it sounds like he's just gonna order her around and it just sounds terrible. And you're just like, I know what you were going for, but the execution here.
very poor. I felt the same thing.
It was like oof magoof when I watched it.
It was bad. But we cut to Taraji P. Henson finally going on a date with James while everyone else is going to go to Dominic's food truck opening.
Yeah.
And on the date with James, he just talks about himself the entire time. He doesn't even let her get a word in edgewise because he's Morris Chestnut and he has a G6 and he's about to get slizzard, I would imagine. And, but she's like, I'm fine, thanks for asking. And he's like, I don't understand. She's like, I know, but I think I do. So she goes to the food truck and bursts through, delays the food line, cuts in front of people, and it's just like, I love you. I want you back. And he's like, I think we want different things. She's like, I disagree. We want the same thing. And I was like, he's saying no. He can say no, by the way.
I know. I was so mad. Like, this is a big night for him. He worked hard for this, and you're fucking his shit up right now. Like, I love the gesture of showing up and being supportive of the restaurant opening. That's great.
Great.
And be like, hey, when you're not busy, can we talk? Even if it's like in the next few days, you know?
No, Todd, you obviously have to get on the truck and talk to him
I
immediately.
know, and stop him from serving the customers that he's trying to build a relationship with. I was so mad for him in this moment.
Right.
But they end up together, I guess.
Everyone kind of ends up together because everyone's
Fuck.
there. Everyone loves each other.
And that's
the movie.
And then we do get some pretty great closing credits because it's them playing the basketball game from earlier, and it is very funny. But having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what did you guys think about Think Like a Man?
Hated it.
Yeah, I was not a fan. And again, didn't like the book, and the movie is basically the book. So, like,
Yeah, no shocker in the fact that you didn't like both.
there's a sequel to this movie, and I'm kind
There
of curious
is.
as to, like, what even happens in the sequel.
I think we should do it, but
Oof.
I mean, let's give it some time because
Yeah,
I don't think I could
please.
do this one immediately. I will say this though, like I think everyone in the movie does a good job. Everyone's super fun to watch on screen. Kevin Hart's very funny in this movie, but you just have to overlook some
Yeah.
so much shitty and regressive views that it's hard to enjoy.
Yes.
But I don't think that's a part of the actor's fault. Like I think that's a lot of the subject matter that they were asked to be
Yeah,
in this movie
I
about.
think
you know?
everyone's performances are fine. I have no
Yeah.
performance notes.
No, it's an infomercial. You can only make an
Yeah.
infomercial that's so good, you know?
I think you could cut half an hour out of this if you just cut Steve Harvey out of it. Easy.
Yeah.
But I also think it's too many stories. It suffers from the
It is.
same Love Actually problem. So, like, it's tough to really invest in anybody, and it's tough to follow sometimes, and
Yeah.
that can be kind of frustrating.
Well, Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
I do.
Well, here it is with your fun facts. Food truck fun facts.
When Dominic, Michael Ealy's character, talks to the
Yeah.
guys about the movie Four Colored Girls, which came out 2 years before this movie, he says, some psycho drops his kids out of the window. Michael Ealy played the character who did that in the movie. Very fun. I mean, not fun. Like, don't drop kids out windows.
No. It's fun that they reference it.
Yes,
though.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So Michael, aka the mama's boy, and Candace, it's established that Candace is older and he's younger, but it's impossible for him to be any more than 4 years younger than her because they attended high school at the same time. As
Yeah.
established in the very first shot.
Yeah.
But in real life, he was 11 years younger than her. So,
Okay.
Nice.
but they
Yeah.
definitely play him even younger, even though it's established that they were in high school at the same time.
Yeah, I got the vibe that he was maybe like 2 or 3
Yeah.
years younger.
Yeah. So this I completely missed. I assume I completely missed this. I assume you guys did too. Bennett is the white character, and he's pretty frank about racial topics. He's often played as the joke.
Yeah.
But what allegedly happens in this movie that I did not see, I didn't find this until Fun Facts, is that he has a wife who is black.
I mean, I don't know if we see her. That's cool though. I mean, like, I wonder if she's just like in the background of some shots at, like,
She's in the
and
end.
maybe she had some speaking lines that they cut out. Yeah,
Yes.
towards the end.
Yeah, so she's in the end, and she's the only woman associated with any of the male characters who has no speaking lines, but that's who she is. But they don't give her a name, they don't identify her. And I was like, what a missed opportunity.
I
Because then
know.
we could have seen a healthy couple who
A
loves each
healthy
other.
relationship. Oh my God.
Anyway,
They like did all the work that it would take to show a healthy relationship and then just didn't show it.
I know. Steve Harvey, Kevin Hart, and Gary Owen all began as stand-up comedians, and it should come as no surprise. Don't date stand-up comedians, like most of the time. We're not great people a lot of the time.
I mean, like, there's a reason funny people are funny people, and it's
Yeah.
usually because of damage. And sometimes that damage can cause relationship issues. And listen, ladies throughout my life, I apologize.
Yup.
I was going to name them all, but it was going to take too long.
Yeah.
I think we have 15 seconds.
So Romani Malco, who plays Zeke,
Yeah.
actually started his career as a recording artist with the rap group College Boys, who did have a #1 hit, Victim of the Ghetto.
No shit.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good for them. And him too. I mean,
Yeah.
to like transition into a successful acting career.
This is actually the second time Regina Hall has played a character with the name Candace. She is also Candace in The Best Man and its sequel, Best Man Holiday, which we should do The Best Man so that at come Christmas, we can do Best Man Holiday.
Okay.
So sometime between now and Christmas, somebody pick Best Man.
Okay.
So we can then do Best Man Holiday because I've heard...
You realize you pick a third of the movies.
I know,
on
that's
this
true. It's just
show,
me.
right?
Just don't let me forget. In the movie, when she answers Michael, Mama's boy's phone, she says Michael Atwater, which is weird because his last name is Hanover, as established earlier in the script.
What? Really? Okay.
Yeah, yes. And those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Let's talk a little bit about what I like to call a box office.
Mhm.
So, what do you think the production budget was for Think Like a Man in 2012?
27.
Okay. Mikey, what do you think?
35.
Okay. Why do you think it would be that expensive, both of you?
The amount
the
of people
actors,
in it.
yeah.
Yeah, the actors.
Yes. Okay. I thought the exact same thing. I
Yeah.
was very shocked to find out
Like
that the budget
12.
for this movie was $12 million.
Ah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That means people did not get paid what they were worth for this movie.
Absolutely. I also think like maybe they weren't as famous as they were later going to be. Like Kevin
That's
Hart was
fair.
definitely on his upswing. But I mean, either way, like that's a very good budget for how this movie looks, I think. Anyway, if you adjust for inflation, that would be about $15.6 million today. Super low budget for what this movie is. Now, this movie premiered on April 20th of 2020. It was up against The Lucky One.
That's my favorite.
Oh,
Yes.
did it go from number whatever all the way across from Colorado to Louisiana?
So The Lucky One was in 3,155 screens. Think Like a Man was in 2,015 screens. They both premiered that week. Which one do you think made more money? So I don't need the amount that they made. I just want you to tell me whether Think Like a Man made more money or The Lucky One made more money.
The Lucky One made more money.
No. I think Like a Man made more money.
Paige, you are right. Think Like a Man was #1. It brought in $33.6 million. The Lucky
Holy
One
shit.
also
Holy shit.
premiered the same week. Brought in $22.5 million, literally $11 million less than Think Like a Man brought in, which I think is
Jeez.
awesome. Also in theaters that week, the #3 movie was The Hunger Games. #4 was a movie called Chimpanzee. And #5 was The Three Stooges. Now, Think Like a Man was in theaters for a total of 12 weeks, so it ran from April 20th to July 6th. But what do you think it brought in domestically at the box office?
95.
Okay.
120.
I think, Paige is closer. It was $91.5 million. It also brought in $21.8 million internationally for a total of $113 million.
Damn.
And if you adjust that for inflation, that's
On a 12 million investment.
Yeah.
Like even 24 accounting for marketing.
Yeah. So if you double the budget, which typically you do for
Yeah.
marketing expenses, right? To like advertise the movie, $24 million is a safe bet. They brought in $113 million. Like I understand why
Jeez.
a lot of people in this movie went on to continue to be famous
And why it got a sequel.
they made a sequel. Yeah, exactly. It also brought in almost $20 million in domestic DVD and Blu-ray sales. It brought in $19.8 million. This movie made a ton of money. But that is your box office. So Mikey, do you want to hit him with that romance scale?
Yeah, our romance scale is a scale of 1 to 10 of how romantic we found this film today. Paige.
1. I hope these people aren't together.
Oh shit, we'll have to do that too. But I am also a 1. Mikey, what are you?
Definitely a 1.
Okay. Do we think any of them are still together?
Probably because they can't communicate and obviously have been in
Yeah.
long-term unhealthy relationships.
Yeah. I don't want them to be for their own happiness, but I think they are.
We just don't get enough time with one couple to invest, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But that's your romance scale. So this week, I made you guys watch Think Like a Man. Mikey,
Nope.
it's Paige's pick next
Thank
week.
you.
Paige, what are you going to make us watch next week?
All right, I'm going to take us in kind of a different direction. This is newer. It came out in 2020, starring Lakeith Stanfield and Issa Rae. This is
Okay.
The Photograph.
This is the photograph.
We're gonna talk about it, make you laugh. I know very little. I read descriptions. I just wanted to find something because I feel like we covered a ton of stuff from like 10, 15 years ago, and we're always like, if they made this movie today, I don't think they would do this way. So I wanted to pick something as current as possible. It's got a lot of talented people in it, so I am hopeful that it will be good.
I love Lakeith Stanfield, so like I'm excited to see it. It sounds great.
Yep.
I mean, we'll see.
We'll see.
So your homework for next week is to watch the 2020 The Photograph and try your best not to think about how Chad Kroeger sort of destroyed music. So Mikey, do you have a review for us to read?
I do.
Hell yeah. So whose review are you going to read this week, my mans?
Kenny G, 138.
Mikey, will you do me a favor and read this review as if you were singing it through a saxophone?
I will not.
All right. I tried, chat.
I don't know what that would be like. Everybody poops, just not on the floor, is the title of the review.
I love Kenny G so much right now.
After loving cult podcasts, tearing through Horror Virgin, and now chowing down all of this gym in about 2 months.
What?
It's safe to say I'm a fan.
In 2 months? That's a lot of listening to catch up on these episodes in 2 months.
That's a lot of
2 months.
Paige and Todd have fun exchanges, made even more hilarious when they slightly annoy Mikey, who is clearly the top of the hose pyramid here.
Wait, what? Is that in fact the case? Kenny G, who went from my favorite reviewer to somewhere towards the bottom all of a sudden?
From one lovable idiot to another. See, he gets it. He gets it.
Yeah, as Kenny G knows what's up.
Yeah. As someone who actively dislikes most rom-coms, it is still so fun to listen to these three discuss them with love and just a dash of salt. Dash of salt. 10 out of 10 would recommend, especially if you're the ghost of a Confederate general communicating through a Ouija board and are in desperate need of much representation. God dang it.
If we could create a stuffed animal plushie of a Ouija board Confederate general, would that be racist?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so when we're workshopping bits, we really need to be thinking long-term merch when we're thinking these bits up.
Yeah.
Sorry. Why wasn't he Confederate? Oh, it was one of his secrets, because it was Toby's secret. He was on the wrong side of the war. That's why he was a Confederate general. God damn it. All right.
I can only do a Southern... I can't be like, what's this all about? I'm a Northern general or whatever. Yeah, that's my Brooklyn.
I'm sorry. Are we to expect that that's what a Northern general was to have sounded like?
Yo, what's up? It's me, Sherman. We're marching here.
No.
I hope these torches don't drag the ground too much.
Anyway, 5 stars. That's my review. Can we...
Well, Kenny G, thank you so much for that awesome 5-star review. And if you want to have Mikey read your 5-star review, leave us a 5-star review.
So, yeah, guys, if you like this power throuple that we have here on this podcast, make sure to check out our other podcast, The Horror Virgin. And that is the only other podcast that Mikey and I are on. But Paige gets around, and she is on 2 other podcasts, Black Card Rehab and Cult Podcast. So guys, definitely check out those because they're amazing. If you want to follow us on social, we are at Romancing the Pod Show.
Yes.
On Instagram, and we are at something else on Twitter who I just have never taken the time to learn
It's just Romancing Pod Show because they have a character limit and it's show, SHO, like Showtime.
So guys, check that out as well. And if you want to follow us all individually, Paige is at Rampage Wesley everywhere, including TikTok, except for Twitter, where she is at Paige Wesley. Mikey is at M Randolph 24, and I am at Todd J Awesome everywhere. And guys, we got a P.O. box. So if you want to send us some love letters or whatever you might send to a P.O. box, it's actually not a P.O. box. It's like a regular street address. It's pretty awesome. It's 6688 Nolensville Road, number 108-34, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027. So send us some stuff.
Yeah.
And that's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm Todd.
And you complete us.
To completion.
Think like a man, but made for a woman.
No.
Maybe it's misogyny. Bye.